Now in our previous video, we have seen how to calculate the annual returns and the drawdowns on some trade, and also on some trades if they were trading only above the 12 months SMA, and I gave the SPY example. So if you haven't seen that video, I strongly suggest you have a look at it now. There is the link in the description of this video. So I had SPY as an example, and after I was comparing that with if we trade the SPY above the 12 months SMA or not. But this time I would like to take it one step further. What I would like to do ideally is just have the amount of months that we use as a moving average as a parameter. So I would like to be able to come here, and instead of having 12, I just want to press 6, and then it changes 6 SMA. So at the moment this is not done, so this hasn't changed. But this is the idea, this is the vision. So let's see if we can do this. So I'm just going back here. And to calculate the average, it's just extremely simple. We are just using the average function, and it goes back the last 12 months. So if we want to be able to be dynamic, if we want to be able to have a dynamic average and just not do 12 every time, we need to be able to go back, say, when we want to go back 6 months, just to go back to the last 6 only, like this. We could do that manually, of course, but I want to do that in a dynamic way. And when we want to go back only 3 months, I would just want to go back the last 3, not the last 6. So how do we do that? So one way to do this is to use the indirect function. So I have the function here. I have the average, and the average using the indirect function in here. So the way I see indirect is just telling Excel, don't worry about me, only worry about what I am going to produce as an output, and then take that as face value. When you do an average here and there is an indirect, you tell Excel, don't look at me, just look at what I produce. So therefore here you would have the starting point of the row that you wanted to extract to calculate the average, and then you would have the end point. Now row, it's also an Excel value, if you like, would just give you the current row. So in other words, what I'm doing here is I've put the moving average value that I would like to extract here. So here I just took the row F because I know the close is here. So that's the way it will be calculated. For instance, now we are in a row 15. So I will go from row 15 minus 6, which is 9, plus 1, 10. 10 to 15 will give me 6 months. That is what we would have here. So one way to check if it works is you go there and you go under the formula, and then you just evaluate the formula. And if you evaluate, you calculate, see, Excel is calculating the stuff. So this is telling me F10 to F15. It works. So I know this works. And then after, what I do is I just drag everything down. And now I have a moving average of 6. So I used to have the moving average here. So what I can do now is I'm just going to move one up. I copy it from here and I paste it here. And that doesn't change. That still stays F. That's still 0. So that's all good. And I'm going to do all this. And then what I would like to do is to tidy that up a little bit, to remove this. I'm just going to leave 2 decimals. All the rest doesn't change. All the rest have been copied, and now I don't need this anymore. So now I have a new moving average, and this is not the 12-month moving average. It is the 6 months, I could say, is equal to this. And 6 months average. Now if we go back here, same thing. Now I prefer to have it here so I can play with it. So what I'll do is here, I just left it here for the demo to start with, but now I will just take the value from here. So I don't have to go back here every time. Take the value from here. So this is the value that we will be using. So this is the value that we want to change, and we should be able to see the annual return here straight away. So let's see if it works. I do 6 like this. If I do 12, this looks familiar. This is what we had last time. If I do 3, yes, and the drawdown is recalculated, so it works. I do 2. Now I cannot go beyond 12 because at the moment I've just only put it after 12 here, so we're just allowed to 12. But if you wanted to go beyond 12, to go 24 or 36, you would just need to have this start lower. Otherwise, when it tries to calculate the 24, it would go in a text here, it will go outside the spreadsheet, so not a pretty sight. So that is done, we've done that already, so that we have the flexibility to have several moving average. Now I would like to be able to view several moving averages and the return and the drawdown at the same time. So how can we do this? Now in order to do this, I will be using what Excel calls a data table. We need to go under the data tab here, and then we go into the forecast, what if analysis, and we just enter data table here. So that's the way we do it. But before we do that, we need to create a table. I'm just going to create this table here. I'm just going to put it like this. At the top left, I want the value that I want to withdraw for each one of the various value of the SMAs. If it's not clear for you, you will understand once the result is being produced. So here what I want is the annual return. And here, let's say I want it for the 2 months, for the 3 months, for 6, 9, and 12 months. And here there's no other things that could be useful for us to vary at this stage. Maybe in the future, but not at this stage. So what I want is for each of those values here, for 2 months, I want to be able to have the annual return here, etc. So I'm just selecting all this. And I go back into data, what if analysis, data table. Now in row and put here, this will not be used. This is supposed to be for this. But for some reason, if I don't put anything there, Excel doesn't like it and only brings back 0. So I'm just going to put something random. I'm just going to put this, for instance. Could be anything. But this, on the other hand, this is where I'll put the 12 here. So this is the value that will change. So it's 12 at the moment, but so what Excel will do is will rerun this function with 2 here, with 3 here, with 6 here, 9 and 12. So let's see if it works. Okay, now it works, but it will look much better if I format Painter here. Okay, so that's super cool, isn't it? So Excel remembers all this and reruns it all the time. Now, before I forget, there's something important that you can do if you're working on a very big file. Here, the file is relatively small, but if you work on a very big file, what you need to do is you need to click this, automatic except for data table. Otherwise, every time you input something, change something, it's going to rerun this, and that will mess up your CPU and the line. When you have this, you need to press F9, and it will only recalculate when you press F9. Or calculate now here. Okay, so this is good. So now we can have a look. We just check first. 12 is 8.9. If I put 2 here, it's 3.9. So we can see that we have the best return that we have is for 9 months here. And after we can fine tune, we can just say, let's say 9, 10, 11, 12. We cannot go beyond 12. So let's see if you get closer. Calculate now. Yeah, well, it looks like 9 is the best one. Anyway, I'm just going to put it back. This is not really the point at this stage. The point is knowing that we can have something dynamic like this. And I could have put every number between 2 and 12. I could have created a table much larger than this. Okay, now I want to do the same, but with a drawdown as well. So this way we can see both. Unfortunately, I cannot do the 2 at the same time. At this stage, Excel doesn't provide you this, but it's very easy to redo. So I'll just go back here, create the grid. What I want this time, I want this top left to be equal at the drawdown. There we go. And I just want to, I don't like copying from the other table because this is like a territory in itself. So I don't know what's going to happen if I just copy and paste. So I just take play it safe. I just enter that manually. I select it all. I go to data table. Row input, I put something random. And column input cells, I'm just going to put this. This is the one that we want to play with. Now I just need to do a little bit of formatting. I'm just going to take the format of this one and I'm just going to put it here. So this is quite good. We could even hide this. Now we know the annual return and the drawdown for each one. What I like to do is to just divide one by the other. I know that's not very standard, put it back into a number, but that just gives me an idea of the ratio between the two. I know it's not, I know they have some fancy ways to calculate the risk based on the return, but for me this is my high level assessment. Calculate more, I divide the return by the potential drawdown of that sale so far, and that gives me an idea. For instance, this one, this is the best. I'm getting a 9 and I'm only getting a 16 drawdown. So this is not bad. So this one has a slightly better return, but the drawdown is not good. And this one is very close actually. Those two are very close. So 6 or 12 is very close. Now I could do the same with the number of trades. When I say trade, this is more the amount of time it stays in the market. So if I'm down to 6 and 12 to decide, if I do 6 here, it's 179 in the market. And if I put 12, it's 196. So it looks like 6 is even better. Food for thought. I could do another table with the amount of trades as well. This is good, we're making progress. In the next video I have some other stuff that I would like to take into account for us to try and be a bit more efficient, maybe around the drawdown. At this stage we only take the largest drawdown, but it'd be good if we could have how many drawdowns there has been, let's say below 10%. So if I have a quick look here, so this is the drawdown in orangey there, that's a drawdown for the 12. If I look at 6, yeah, at 6. And you can obviously put all that in a nice little chart, select all this, insert, recommended chart for once is the right one. You just press enter, you make sure that you add all the data labels and you do some formatting there, and that should give you something along those lines here. So that's a good overview. Just one trick for the axis. You click on the axis and you go to format number and you create your own type of format code, which is you put the hash and SMA, and that's it. Okay, so this is it for this time, and let's try and take it one step further next time.